that I thought I would put a little of that on here for you. So I wanted to do that. Pardon the, I don't do very many of these because it's really movie, but like jostling, but it gives you a little live feel, a little vibe of liveness. Anyway, I hope everybody made it through Christmas okay. I did. Quiet Christmas that I spent with my son and my husband and his small family. So it was really it was quiet and small. Parents are something I'm really appreciating. Having his parents. It's really it's an interesting thing because it's the first time I've really been in a family that had functional parents, and so it's kind of interesting to see the difference, because on the surface it really looks a lot the same, and I'm sure that the primary thing that you pick up on is that they care about each other's needs in a way that I've just never really experienced. I've experienced, in a way, but it wouldn't be obvious. It wouldn't be obvious to, well, it wasn't even obvious to me, of course, because I was used to it, but it wasn't obvious, no one pointed it out to me in my whole entire life. But it's just, there's a concern for each other's needs and helping each other out and stuff that is new and different that I hadn't really experienced before. I think about how exhausted I used to be, because it didn't matter if I had just had a newborn baby or whatever. I was always the one doing everything for everybody, and now I sometimes can almost feel guilty because I feel like I'm not doing enough. I feel like I'm like the guest. I don't. His mom and his sister have been so used to doing like cooking meals and stuff together for so long that they have kind of a system down in his niece. They have kind of a system down that they don't really need my help, and so I just kind of gotta go there and get served, and it's all very new to me, very, very new to me. But last night we were sitting there and we had puppies. I showed the puppies on the way over there. I was with my. You'll see some footage. I'll show some footage with my son. We're driving over with my son, where we had the puppies in the back, and now so I'll show you the snow and stuff. But anyway, so we were there with the puppies, and everyone was just kind of holding a puppy, and it was just kind of quiet and sweet, and I don't know. I appreciated it. I appreciated that we were all just kind of hanging out there, and that it was just. I realized that I don't think that my mother has really ever been real, like ever just really hung out with me just like that. Like she's always had some kind of act going on or something, or and I realized everybody did. But at the same time, there were also with my son, there were some kind of interesting things that were going on too, and he's suddenly kind of coming out with these stories now, with his dad and stuff. He's kind of starting to tell me stories. I don't know, and they're a little random when they come. Sometimes he doesn't really talk much at all, and I'm worried about him. Actually, I'm worried about my son. But on the way over there, he was telling me this story. And it was just so horrifying, you guys. It was just so horrifying. He was telling me this story about being with his dad when he was about 7 years old and cutting his foot. He was in the summertime. He was cutting his foot on an oyster shell, and it was bleeding all over the place and needed stitches really bad. And this was during a period of time when his dad, well, we were separated. They were with his dad. And also, this was actually a period of time when they thought that I was dead. And I have a video about that. It's titled, I'll link it here, but it was titled something like, my husband told my children that I was dead. It was during that time. There was like a 3-month period, tough time, when that's what they believed. But anyway, but it was bleeding really bad. My husband had a date. He had a date with a girl in Seattle. So, first my sister-in-law sees it. She's like, oh my God, that's terrible. It's bleeding all over the place. Oh my God. She doesn't do anything about it. She drops him off. He cleans it out with a wire brush, then wraps it up with a bandage and takes him to Seattle and leaves him in Seattle with my other son, who's like 9 years old. He keeps calling and saying, I don't think he's okay. It's bleeding. It's a lot. Anyways, my son Noah comes up with this idea that what they need to do is they need to cauterize this thing. I don't even know how he knew anything about cauterization or whatever. But after this, completely traumatizing day, and I'm cutting it really down short compared to the story that he was telling. It was really nasty. It had rocks in it. You had to scrub it with the wire brush. He put alcohol in it. He's 7 years old. It was bleeding everywhere. And there's this pure and total neglect going on. And the whole time I'm hearing this story, and I just want him to stop talking, because I'm thinking, I should have been there. He was thinking, he had to be thinking, where's my mom? I should have been there. But not only that, his dad was there, but aside from his dad, there were like 3 other adult women that saw this whole thing. There was my mother-in-law, my sister-in-law, and the girl that he was dating, the woman he was dating. And none of them did anything. None of them took him to the ER. It's like, what is the matter with these people? Anyways, my 9-year-old son decides that he's got to cauterize this thing. So they're home alone, not even home. They're in an apartment in Seattle where he's left them, where he's out with this girl. He leaves them with the phone, which he leaves him with his phone and says, call me if you need anything, on her phone. They heat up a knife on the stovetop, on a burner, and sear the bottom of his foot shut. And to this day, the bottom line of his story was that it worked and how smart Noah was and all that. But I'm just sitting there horrified. I never heard the story before in my life. And he's got, complex post-traumatic stress disorder. You wonder, how many stories like that were there? And I know there were many. And their dad, it would be like, I would say, can the boys come be with me? And he'd be like, no. And then he would say no and then leave them alone. It was just really awful. So I read all these stories, my own stories, all of your stories, hearing these stories from people who I never even knew. It can sometimes with the narcissistic abuse thing, it can feel really futile because there's so little progress. We know this about that they don't change and all this. And before I knew the ins and outs of narcissistic abuse, even after I could identify what it was, I still didn't fully understand how there was no changing. I was just an optimistic person, and that I just couldn't believe. I just couldn't believe that really there would be no change. And it only 15 years later, after my son has actually died, and there was never any progress, and even when he dies, there's still not any progress, only then am I able to fully understand and believe how futile it is, that there is just not going to be any progress. And so you can start to think, what was the point? What was the point? If there was, if you have this thing happen, you have a near-death experience. And for, regular people, a lot of people, they almost lose their child, and they're like, maybe that would change their relationship forever, and they would come together and they realize life is short and you could lose somebody at any moment, and it changes their family forever in all these really positive ways. Well, not my family. It didn't happen in my family at all. In my family, what happened was people went, oh, she's a threat. She's breaking down. She's not able to keep up the ruse that we're all just doing fine, that we're this perfect family. She's publicly falling apart, and so we need to separate from her because she's going to let people know that we're not perfect. And so, all this stuff that all my life I believed we were this private family, and that now it had its own problems. We were this private family, and it had to look perfect, and had secrets and all that stuff. And we just didn't air the family's dirty linen. But it was even worse than that, because that really wasn't even true. That was only true for a while. Then when it came to them wanting to separate from me, they were perfectly fine with making stuff up and then spreading it everywhere. So it wasn't even that we had to keep up this perfect image of this perfect family. It wasn't even that. The lie was even deeper than that. And so, the incredibly bitter pill that it is when you're actually dying. I was dying in front of my husband. He was letting me die. I was resuscitated in front of my family. Code blue in front of my family. And they didn't even come in and say, it wasn't a tear shed. They didn't come in crying and being like, oh my gosh, there was no concern. That was what the thing is that was striking me with my husband's family, is that there was this level of concern, real concern over each other's well-being that I've never really experienced. Clearly they wish that I had died,
Once again.
Okay.
You better put that in your video. It's like you're taking vlog people and you can't even use your phone.
That's my son over there.
It took her like 20 minutes to listen to one voicemail.
He's making fun of me because I can't figure out how to use my phone. You guys, you gotta see this. Back here. Okay, now hold on.
Now you gotta flip the camera.
Don't do it. The button's not there.
You gotta tap the screen. You're making me swerve. You gotta tap the screen.
Oh my gosh.
Shouldn't you?
See? Some puppies.
This is where the big lake is and everything.
Okay.
It's where all the...
This is the wintry scene. So, back there was Colette and her puppies. But anyways, we're headed to Yakima from where we live over in Lakewood. But anyway, what is this place? This river?
That's not a river, that's a lake.
It's a lake?
Something, I don't know. It's in Snoqualmie.
We are so bad.
I've driven by this.
If Scott was here, he'd be able to tell us what this is. We're in a Snoqualmie Pass is where we are.